I love being by the ocean. I came here as a kid. There are big sand dunes. They make me feel like I want to be a big kid and run up and down them and get a sledge and do sand dune sledging. And it's by the ocean, and the ocean is windy. When I was writing the story, there's a bit at the end of the story where she is heading towards the ocean. And this is what was in my imagination when I was writing it, was this beach and this bit of ocean, and thinking that if I was left alone in a post-apocalyptic world by myself and I was heading to the coast, this was kind of where I imagined I would be walking towards. I have many associations with the concept or idea of void. It's the space that we can go to when the shit hits the fan and everything falls apart, which is a space that I am very familiar with in my life, and which I guess we are globally in right now. And everything is unknown. The void is a space of unknownness. So that could be an internal psychological space of unknownness where suddenly you just don't know what anything means anymore, and it could be like a sort of existential unknownness where you don't know who you are or what you are. It could be a physical space of emptiness. It could be my womb. I often think about void spaces in relation to my uterus and this kind of empty, black, fertile space where something could grow one day and life can be born, and where also death can happen. It could be a place of desperation and loneliness and terror and darkness and fear and inescapableness. Or it can be a place of new beginnings and birth and creation and life. I always try and write from stuff that feels like direct experience. And so for that reason, she is a she. The character is a young woman. That's also really important for me, to write characters who are young women. Because growing up, I was really inspired by books where I found young women going on adventures and doing things that maybe I didn't see so much in other books or in films. She's really fierce. She's potentially the only person left in the world, which may be one of the scariest imaginable things for me, like imagining what life would be like if I realized there was just me left. She's having to learn really fast how to do everything really differently. She's really wild, and something in her is excited sometimes by this prospect of having the whole world to herself. I have very strong feelings and opinions around the way that we navigate most of our societies in the world and the kind of patriarchal lens that we view everything through. There's a really direct relationship for me between that and what's happening to our Earth. And there's a lot of mirrors for me around the kind of disrespect and lack of reverence that are shown to women and girls globally, and the disrespect and lack of reverence that we show to our Earth. There feels like a really clear connection for me between the way that we kind of have a sort of hyper-intellectualized society that is very, consumer driven and product orientated and linear, and everything's about goals and achieving things and going in straight lines. I feel that individually and collectively, if we were more in touch with the feminine, and I mean the feminine, not the female, I mean the feminine as an energy, that if we were more in touch with our feelings, if we were more connected with each other, if we were more in touch with our humanity, if we had stronger relationships with the land and more connection with the impact that we have on the land, then we wouldn't be in this mess. There's a lot of anger there, and a lot of rage and a lot of grief and some hope somewhere in there. Maybe we're waking up to realizing that we have to pay more attention to the feminine and have more respect for it, and more love and more care and more balance. So I have like a much more tangible relationship with the impact that the weather has on my life as a result of having lived off-grid for a year and a half. I have more of a relationship with the climate, literally. I have more of a relationship with the weather because when we don't have enough rain, we don't have any power, and when we have too much rain, we don't have any power, and when we don't have enough sun, we don't have any power. I'm learning a lot living in that way, and it's definitely making me realize how disconnected we are from what we live in relation to or don't live in relation to. It's really good. I think everybody should experience what that is. If I feel at home in myself, then I can feel at home anywhere. Like the safest place you can be is inside of yourself. There's also like external home. Often that's the theatre. Sometimes it's a dance floor. Sometimes it's the kitchen in our house. Home is where I feel free to be myself.
Wel bym yn pysgota beti, feddwl adeiladu, feddwl